coffee.
Da-da-da. We're live and Chris is on the floor.
Right, guys.
Welcome back.
Things I do for this stream.
Yes.
Is it
Welcome
quieter?
back.
Wait.
Yeah, it's a lot quieter.
Great. Okay.
What's
Welcome
up,
back
guys?
to FastTrack Feedback Fridays.
No.
Fridays today. And
Yes, sir.
yeah, we're back again. We've got a few folks from last week that are in the queue, but we've got plenty of room for free submissions. Again, if you're watching and you don't know what we do, we give as detailed and constructive feedback as possible on your music so you can actually make the best shit you've ever made, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, we've got a submission form. That link is in the chat.
Boom.
So if you got tracks that you're working on or have released, send them our way. We'll give them a listen.
We like works in progress. We like finished releases. Anything you want, we want to hear it.
Yes,
So
indeed.
use that link. Let us know. We give, I would say, dare I say, the most in-depth feedback
Perhaps
on the internet. No, just kidding. Well, and live streaming, maybe that might be
maybe it's possible. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, send us the tracks and stick around because you'll see we go in pretty hard. So in terms of the queue, we have Vuda and we have Jean G with 2 songs right now. We typically get through like 5 or 6 because we give kind of long reviews and we're trying to help our people out and typically do it back and forth if they're in the chat. So if you're in the chat, submit and we'd love to talk to you. But without further ado, I guess we can get to the first.
I'm just gonna throw the link in the chat again. I think a few more people just joined. So if you want feedback on your music, released or unreleased, send it our way. We'd love to review you and give you some helpful, constructive feedback. So let us know and say hi in the chat.
Yo, what's up? What's up? Happy Friday.
Yes.
I think maybe we didn't do this one, but are you on Vuda? You ready to do Vuda?
I think I've got the link. Yeah, let me load it up. Is there a description?
There's no description. I just remember the album art. I don't think we did it. Maybe it's just that person's.
It might just be the same art. Yeah.
But it's Vuda Pearl. It's an outro. It's a work in progress. Vuda sent us a song last week with the same album art. Also a work in progress. So maybe they're working on an EP or something. Be pretty cool. But from what I remember, it was a pretty funky song. But you ready?
Yep. Let's do it.
Vuda Pearl outro. 3, 2, 1.
Sounds fake though.
Oh yeah, that '80s R&B song last time.
I like the drums sounded good too.
There's a lot of space here.
It's like there's something missing.
Yeah, that's one way to describe it.
Okay, yeah.
Ooh, that hit nice.
Kind of underwhelming pad sound.
Yeah, it's a little thin.
It's a little stock too, and not as wide and sort of.
Nice.
It's not
Nice
filling
flow.
out the track enough. Like that little lead thing though.
Yeah, that part's cool.
Ottawa keyboard. Pretty lush, very airy.
Ooh.
I like this one. A lot of upper mids concentrated like in the middle of the field. It's weird.
Sibilance and sweet stuff. I like this song.
Yeah. That's cool. So everything's very bright though, don't you think?
Yeah. Wow, it really did fill out though.
It's weird though, it doesn't sound as wide as I want it to be. It's still this very like middle stereo field focus. The only thing that really has good directionality is that little keyboard wah part.
I like this solo.
Cool. That lead part, a lot of reverb, makes it feel like it's more in the background than the foreground.
Yep. I think think the
great
arrangement was
solo.
pretty good. Like
Yeah, I
in terms of
agree.
pacing and stuff.
I I guess it does sort of qualify maybe as a bit of an outro track. Like,
Yeah,
it almost feels like one of those tracks where
pretty
you get
fire. I
through the
really liked
record.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
where you get through the record and, like, the track before it feels more like like a hit, either like a full song, like a hit song sort of,
yeah,
and then this is like the credits. Like, I
yeah,
feel like I've heard that in a lot of this era, like, like 70s, 80s records,
yeah.
where the outro is more like the curtains come back up and everyone's bowing, and it's not really like the main action.
Yep, yep,
But, yeah, it was interesting. I think we both sort of felt like at the beginning it maybe hung a little bit too long in that sort of sparse part.
yep.
We were kind of waiting, like, it felt like there should have been a lead line or some sort of subject
Hmm.
there to be
Yep.
happening.
Hmm.
Not necessarily right at the beginning, but, like, I went on maybe, twice as many bars as it had to or something like that.
Yeah, I exactly agree with that. Yeah.
And then otherwise, like, yeah, I agree. I really liked the arrangement, uh, overall. Like, I think the rest of the sections and the vocals coming in and the placement of those little solos and stuff was cool.
Yeah.
Great, like, I think the talent is there in terms of the, like, vocals and the, like,
Bro,
artistry.
yeah. Is this guy? Is this a sample or is this like a dude singing? Because,
I
bruh,
thought his last one sounded like this too. I feel like it's maybe him.
that's cool. I think
Yeah,
this guy just needs like I don't know if he's mixing it himself, like, but if he just gets like a decent mixing engineer that can help fill out the holes and like stop crowding some of the places that are crowded, yeah, he could go really far. Like
yeah,
songwriting here is cool and it's vibey. Um, yeah, I really liked it a lot. I think.
yeah, for sure. I think that, well, yeah, I mean, my main, like, the thing I was trying to give some, like, feedback on, I guess, is
Yep.
just, like, some mix choices, or, like, really, like, balance in terms of the stereo field was a big part, and then somewhat, like, leveling and EQ. Like, nothing was, like, super unnatural and, like, weird. Like, the overall mix balance wasn't the worst. Like, it had a decent low end, which was good, and it wasn't like it was shrill on the top end or anything like that. Like, those parts were fine. It was just the concentration of kind of
High mid.
high mid content
Yeah.
and sort of everything kind of becoming very washy.
Washed. That's a very good description.
Probably, like, maybe just going through too much of a reverb, or individual instruments having too much reverb on them, and not really doing enough with stereo spacing. Whereas, like, the middle of the track felt like a giant cloud of just high mid content, and it
Yeah.
was all just mushed together. And some of the leveling didn't quite make sense. Like, that keyboard solo was like washed in reverb and not leveled sort of to the forefront, so it
Yeah.
just sounded like a background element when it was the focus of that part of the song.
The vocals I feel like were that way too.
Yeah, and the vocals were kind of obscured too. I think at first I was like, "Oh, that pad thing doesn't sound like it has enough presence or enough width and sort of, like, body,"
Hmm.
and I wasn't super impressed with, like, the timbre of it. Like, it sounded, again, kind of stock,
Yep.
maybe a little bit like that bass part too, bass
Do,
instrument.
do, do,
The
do.
drums are fine. I thought the bass was, like, just on that edge of uncanny valley where it's kinda obvious that, like, those slaps are too clean or whatever, too
Yeah,
bright.
I agree.
Um, but
Honestly, when everything was together, I felt that less. But when
Mhm.
in the beginning, where it's just that, it's like okay,
Yeah,
yeah, this might
yeah, yeah.
sound a little goofy. So
Yeah, you can't, it gets masked over by other stuff, but,
yeah,
yeah, and so, I think, like, then that pad and everything got too washy and too loud. It was, like, in front of the vocal and the key solo, and, so, yeah, that's kind of the synopsis, I guess, for me, is, like, leveling there, in addition to the high mid stuff being too center focused, yeah, just sort of the hierarchy of things.
yeah. I
But
think the only thing that I could tell that was panned was that instrument.
yeah,
It's like
that
slowly
was the
building.
only one that I felt like I know where it is. Like, I can feel exactly where it is in the stereo field.
Mhm.
Everything else was nondescript. Like, even the vocals somehow were like, I couldn't tell where they were exactly.
Yeah,
I also think, just a theory, because so much stuff was clashing in that high mid frequency area, and, like, the synth thing wasn't super defined in where it was. It wasn't scooped out from the middle. It was, like, totally just, like, occupying that middle third maybe of the spectrum of the stereo field.
hmm
I think then when everything else is being masked by those frequencies, or is co-inhabiting that frequency range,
Yeah.
it takes on the stereo field characteristics of that synth part. And so I think the vocals were not sounding as defined in like an exact placement in the stereo field because they were overlapping and being masked by that synth pad so much. And like to
And you
your
said the pads were on the outside.
no,
That's
I think that like the pad was just like this cloud in like the middle, like maybe third of the or even middle half, sort of
interesting.
like the stereo field. It just was like it wasn't like it was stereo widened so you hear it on both sides. It
Mhm.
was like it's not super defined right in the middle. It's just kind of a blob.
Got it.
So it wasn't wide and it also wasn't focused. And I think because that masking and frequency sort of duplication was happening, it was like forcing that property of stereo field onto the other things that it was masking, which
Yeah.
makes sense. Your brain can't really tell the sounds apart if they're super overlapped like that. So
Yep.
I mean
Yep.
that's like probably one of the reasons why it's always like having really thoughtful stereo field placement is just as important as having like EQ separation, and both of these things having their own areas, it multiplies. It means that if you have things that don't occupy the same frequency space exactly and they don't occupy the same stereo space, they'll be like super obvious to tell where things are.
Mm.
When you start mixing both of those, like same stereo space and or same frequency range, blob, you just get big blob. So
Blah 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 blah.
yeah,
True.
it's all psychoacoustics.
Psychoacoustics, bro. That's
Psycho.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That feedback was psycho. But cool.
Yeah.
That's all. That's just vibes,
Yeah,
I
I
guess, at
mean,
this point.
it's kind
Clash
of
of production
everything.
there.
It's
Yeah.
I feel like our first impressions can apply to everything, kind of.
Yeah. So you got a score?
Yeah, I think for vibes, I would say I'd give this probably a 70 between yellow and green, like, or
Yeah.
maybe even I don't know. For me, maybe a 65.
I'm at like 79, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, yellow and green. I really like the artistry of it.
Yeah, I do like that aspect a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll stick at
But
70.
yeah, that's. I think it's the fair score.
Hmm.
Production does need work, but yeah, if this person just got like a decent mixing engineer with them, like, ooh, I think it'd make a pretty damn good song. And I think I had the same kind of feeling last time. I think it was also you found their pad to be like underwhelming and stock sounding and stuff like that. It's like
Yeah,
same issue, you know. So
yeah.
cool. Content.
You know, it's kind of funny when you get to this specific genre of like 80s, early 80s or whatever,
Mhm.
because a lot of the like sounds we think of as stock sound like
Come from here,
very
yeah.
similar to this era because they were working with like the absolute most basic sound synthesis techniques back then in the digital world,
Yeah,
and like the cheapest kind of most stock sounding like VSTs and instruments are also not going to use very complex algorithms, and so they just inherently sound similar.
yeah. It's
um,
because they're from this era. That's what makes them stock. Yeah,
it's weird though because but it's obviously not like authentic. Like it's not like the sounds that he was using I wouldn't describe as sounding authentic to them. They sound more just like cheap, like
yeah.
VSTs or samples from today that are loosely based on stuff from then.
That's what. Yeah. It's like a knockoff. It's like the
Because
Kroger
you
brand.
get there's a different like low sort of lo-fi effect that you get from actual instruments of that era that you just don't have from the modern stuff. It sounds again like way too clean and not endearing in the way that 80s stuff actually does. Ooh, mango LaCroix.
Yeah, I would
Huh,
have to say top two flavor.
nice.
Anyways,
I'd prefer a Topo Chico or something with some alcohol in
Topo
it.
Chico. Oh yeah, it is a Friday.
Hmm.
I'd be down. Don't got any alks on me though.
I'm just drinking straight vodka here, so don't mind
Damn,
me.
bro. All right, some of us don't got the hair on the chest
Yes,
or the
but
face.
yeah. So yeah, for sure. Um, should we go to content?
Yeah, let's do content. Yeah, I thought the arrangement and like structure of the song, the little journey that they put us on, I think it was pretty damn good. With the exception of maybe it drug on a little bit in the beginning, especially which highlighted its weaknesses in terms of
Drug.
drug on. Yeah. Wait, was that a pun? Did I make a pun?
Well, it's definitely. No, I just thought it was funny you said drug because like
Yeah.
drug is a word, but also drug is not the past tense of drag.
Is it dragged?
Yeah.
Wait, drug on? That's not a thing.
Nope.
Fuck,
I don't
man.
think so.
What is my English?
Maybe it's
Wait,
draught. It could be draught.
no way.
No,
What?
it's definitely not draught, but I
Drug
don't think drug
on
is past tense.
word? Come on, bro. That's got to be medication. Okay, well, I'll look it up later. Anyways,
That's interesting.
My American is terrible. My
Oh,
English.
there's an article about this.
Oh, really? Fuck.
Some
All right.
people do use drug, but it's not the correct past tense of drag is dragged.
Damn, bro. Really?
Yeah.
You drug, you
Just
drag.
say no to drug. That's what they said.
Fuck.
That's funny.
Well,
Well,
automatically
so
biased.
each week we're gonna dispel a grammatical myth that Chris has established in his
Yeah,
mind.
what was the last time?
Last
Okay.
week it was
Shouts
shouts
out.
out.
Shouts out to you. Yeah. I
Hey,
swear people
Zale.
say that. Oh,
Maybe you
Zale's
could do.
here? What's up,
Well,
Zale?
people say drug too, but
Yeah, bro.
what up, Zale?
Zale, we got the feedback form for you if you want to submit. Quick question to you: do you ever say shouts out to Zale, for example, or do you
Yeah.
say shout outs to Zale, or
Or
shout
just
out to
shout out.
Zale?
If it's a
Yeah,
single person, I would say shout out.
I say shouts out. So there's
All
that.
those shouts.
Yeah, and then there's what is it? Drug on instead of dragged on. But
It's still funny to me. That
yeah,
one doesn't. I can't like. That doesn't sound normal to me. I don't know why.
it's interesting. But anyways, yeah. So it dragged on. The beginning, the intro is just way too long, and it was probably the weakest part of the song. So you don't want us to be exposing that to us for so long.
Yeah.
You'd probably shorten it by half and be fine and get the same effect.
I think. I
When the,
mean, just a general thought. Like with that
yeah,
kind of thing, you can either make it more interesting or you can make it shorter. It's
yep,
either like which do you want to do? And I think like the lower risk option almost always is to make it shorter
it is an
because
outro too, so you don't have to worry
you're
about it.
yeah, you're already like you've got two things working against you in the direction of making something keeping something long but trying to add stuff. One is if you do stuff that doesn't sound good, that's a giveaway for people to think this
Shut
is
up.
amateur and I don't like it. And if it goes on for too long and it's not interesting, then you risk people just not listening or retaining through listening to your track. So like you've got two forces working against you if you try to do that. If you're really exceptional, there's plenty of cases where there's a great long intro or a great like long track, but it has to be great in order to justify that. As we know from some submissions we've got, if you have a long track that's also bad, it's fucking excruciating and people are gonna run.
Yeah, well, people aren't gonna stay that long. Yeah,
Yeah.
even if it's long. Yeah, but
So it's tough, but
it is tough. But yeah,
sample. Oh, Zale says shout out.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Thanks for your submission too.
I take back my shouts out to Zale. But, anyways.
Damn.
But yeah, we got your submission, Zale. So you'll be up next after John AG. So it's this guy, Johnny G, and then you. We'll get to you for
Yes.
sure during this stream, unless people just tip like mad. But
We'll see.
it doesn't seem like that's likely. Right? But anyways, yeah. So when the pad came in, I thought it got better. It just got progressively better when everything kind of filled out. Uh, what everything that Josh said about the everything kind of sounding washed out still applies here. But in terms of the structure, in terms of all of the stuff coming in and building on each other, I really liked. And the vocals came in, and I'm impressed with how they sound. At least the delivery. I couldn't really pick apart lyrics at this point, but I think it's more of a vibe anyway. So, and I think they nailed it. It's just like last time. It's like rose petals in a bathtub with candlelight type vibe.
Mhm.
I feel like that's what it is.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it's like misty, but yeah, it's like that '80s vibe.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe some of the samples themselves sound a little bit stuck. Altogether, I didn't think it was too much of a problem, and maybe it could be kind of addressed if things were just mixed well and less washed out. Yeah, like the bass sounds a little, like a corny kind of sample, but I honestly like kind of I don't want to say admired it, but like it grew on me, especially when everything was together. It kind of brought me back to older kind of styles of music. I didn't really listen to '80s music too much, but I played a lot of like video game stuff from the '80s where they did '80s music, and that's what it reminded me of. Like, boop, dip, doot. It sounded like an 8-bit
Yeah.
like bass or something.
I actually think like maybe one solution idea for that is like
Yeah.
if it sounded okay when everything else was going, it's probably because the giveaway frequencies, which mostly is like the high end and high mids of that bass sound,
Mhm.
were not audible. And if you just EQ that stuff out a little bit in the intro, you might be fine. It might sound great. So
Yep,
yeah.
that's true. Listen to this guy, and so yeah, that's my overall thing for content. I thought it was pretty dang good. Yeah, I think my biggest gripes are production. So Content, I would say this is probably like I would say it's probably like an 88 for me between yellow and green. I really did like this. What about you?
Yeah. I think I liked most of the content. Like I thought the intro probably went on a little bit too long. I didn't. I mean, I honestly like the core elements aside from the drums, which is like the bass and that synth sound.
Yeah.
I didn't love.
Hmm.
Mostly those two, the bass and the synth sound. I mean, the other patches for like the lead parts, those were great. I think those were fine.
Hmm.
Um, but I think like the two of the front runner elements were sort of not the best sounds in my opinion. So that's kind of significant. And yeah, I mean, I think like it's got a little bit of a weird structure. I feel like, but it suits I think well enough for an outro on an album. So I think that's fine unless you're trying to make this like a hit, which I don't think it is. I think it's just like a chill outro.
Yeah.
But yeah, all of that stuff considered, I think for content, I'd probably say 75% between yellow and green because I just think those two core elements are so key to this sounding good.
Yep. Yep. That makes sense. Production, talked about it a lot. I don't know if I have anything else to add other than my score. So I definitely would say this is the place that needs the most work. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard, but they get some things right. But yeah, just in general, it sounds washed out and could definitely use some stereo spacing and EQing. So I'm at maybe 45 between yellow and green. What about you?
Yeah, I think yeah, we talked about production a lot and I could agree with all of that. I'd probably say, yeah, I could agree with that. 45 between yellow and green.
True. And that puts me at a score of like 77 between the yellow to green. I think it's pretty promising. Like I said, if you have a like a nice mixing and mastering engineer to kind of like get this sonically in shape, then I think artistically you have like something compelling. I
Mhm.
think the same thing from your last submission too. So we do like your I really like your music. So if you're like yeah keep submitting it. You have a final score?
Yeah, I'd say 72 between yellow and green.
72. All right. Cool. Thank you, Vuda. So we got Vuda, Johnny G, or Vuda's done. So Johnny G and then Zale. If you guys want to tip to skip, $5 minimum, you can go and be reviewed right now. People in the chat, we have a free queue and a paid queue. If you want to do into the queue in general, we have that feedback link. Go there, fill out the form, and we'll get you in. Yeah. So let me see.
Hmm.
Oh, Damien off is now following. Thank you very much. We don't have you in the queue, so what's up, man? You wanna give us a submission?
Send us
Music?
your stuff. It is free.
Boom. They talking about it. They didn't want to use my link, but it's okay.
Damn.
Nah, just kidding.
Same one.
But oh, why did this open in that other window? Interesting.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, we can go to Johnny G next,
Let's do
which
it.
is Bad Days finished release.
Because you had a
Wait a
bad
minute.
day.
Wait a minute. I think we listened to this.
Really?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Wait. He sent us two, right?
Johnny G.
Wait, are you sure we listened to this? Why do you think
Yeah,
we listened to this?
because I could have swore that I remember this description. I just wanted to make something vibey that got a little bounce to it, and then he sent
Oh,
it to us on Whip It, which that's what this is.
yeah, I thought we did somebody else's on Whip It, though. We can try playing it and see, but
Yeah,
maybe.
no, like listen to it. I think we did it
Oh,
for
really?
sure. Yeah,
Oh, we did.
yeah.
What the fuck?
I don't know. I don't know how that shit happens.
Oh, we didn't do Vuda's because Vuda had already submitted.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah. Oops.
Sick. Okay,
All right.
cool.
Never mind, Johnny G. Looks like Zale's going straight to the top.
Zale, let's go.
All right. And then Damien, we don't have your submission. Oh, there it is. We got your submission.
Got it.
Cool. And you'll be next after Zale. Cool.
Unless, unless Damien, you wanted to skip.
Oh
Wait.
yeah.
Oh,
Let's do
Zale,
like
you tipped us?
the whoop. What?
No way.
$5 cent.
Wait.
Damn, bro. Appreciate you. You
Hey,
really
yeah, we
got
got
it.
that. Yeah, we appreciate
But
that. Thanks.
looks like it kicked off. What's his name? Uh,
Hmm?
God, Johnny G. But anyways, Jet said said something. Well, cool. Yeah, we got it. You'll be next because Zale got that donation. We appreciate you.
Yes, indeed.
Work in progress. Had the lyrics for months and kept putting them over other instrumentals until I made this one. Version 9 of 24. What? Why aren't you sending us version 24?
It's a lot of versions.
Yeah. Is that a typo? Let us know.
Flower base.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is flower base? Yeah, gotta plug it, bruh. But anyways, yeah, Zale, front of the stream. The song's called Orbit. I like this album art actually. You ready?
Yeah, it's cool. Let's do it.
Oh wait, they said there's a description kind of here. That latest Black Mirror season had me freaking out. Anyways, the stuck in orbit line was stuck in my head for 4 months. All right, cool. You ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Zale, Orbit, 3, 2, 1.
A door! I wonder where it leads. We'll never know. Stuck in orbit, maybe. This my home, my baby. I can't survive.
The vocal is just a little loud. Uh-oh, hold on. I'm gonna pause and turn this down a little bit.
You're pausing
and
it?
Wait, what? Raised in pitch? What?
What happened?
They're saying that again, the audio is clipping and raised in pitch.
What?
So, wait, let me try again and see, because I just turned it down, if this is any better. I'll turn the screen share audio down too.
Thanks, guys. Sorry about that. We'll get this right.
Yeah, this is where hopefully we don't have that SoundCloud issue again.
Yeah.
Because I did like a full restart like just before the stream and everything, so.
Just your music audio. Yeah, it's weird. We had this last week where we couldn't use it on SoundCloud, so we actually had to end up using a different website called Whippet.
For uploading tracks, yeah.
Yeah, for uploading tracks and sharing it to us. I think the Google Drive didn't even work either, right?
Google Drive can be weird with playing newly uploaded audio files.
Yeah, so if we have that problem again, we might ask you guys to just upload it there and give us a link. Sorry about that. We're actually working on our own platform. That's what FastTrack is, such that you guys can, submit, and we can have our own players in house, and everything won't be fucking broken like this weird shit that's happening.
Yeah, I don't know why it's specifically SoundCloud's player that seems to have this problem. Don't know why.
Yeah. So it's part of the website. Sign up there, beta. Anyways,
yes. Yeah, the link is there. Let me try this again, guys. Let me know if this is distorted or anything. Really? They say it's still messed up.
Dude, it is pitched up too. What the hell? That's crazy. Still staticky. Yeah, guys, if you could use that Whippet website, that'd probably be the fastest, and that worked for us last time. If you could use that. I'm sorry about that.
That's super weird.
Yeah.
Oh, also, we just did Vudas on YouTube, and it was fine, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess I didn't see. Yeah, if you guys were there for the last track, could you let us know how it sounded? If not, it's cool.
Dude,
we listened
so
to it a while
weird.
ago, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what would be doing that. Nothing is like resource constrained right now either.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we definitely got to do SoundCloud tracks way back in the day. Like, I don't know why. Does Dropbox work? Maybe.
I think Dropbox does. Yeah, we've got a lot of Dropbox stuff.
Like, yeah, Zale, if you could send us just any other link, we could try that as well. It's just the thing that we found worked, and what people just did quickly was Whip It. So, whatever you guys want to do. But yeah, Damien, if you could send. Oh wait, no, the Dropbox link. Do you want to test Damien's link real quick? Like, Zale, we'll still get to you, like first if you can get us a link immediately. But we could just test if Damien's works because he has a Dropbox link.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's in the okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So it seems like it probably is just SoundCloud, which is really weird.
Wait. Did you try the Dropbox link?
Yeah, I'm trying it now. Let me know, guys, if this is
I'll be listening to
normal.
It sounds normal.
It sounds normal.
Nice, a band.
Okay,
Cool.
just a little preview there.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so it looks like Dropbox works. Zale, if you have Dropbox,
Man, it's weird, but somewhat reassuring because I wasn't sure if it was my computer that was being weird, but it's literally only SoundCloud. So I don't know what the deal is there.
it's fucking weird. Yeah, I don't know
That's
what's
super weird.
But okay, Zale, we got yours. Thank you very much. Sorry about that.
Huh. I think SoundCloud does have their own weird like custom player pipeline that I was
Yeah.
looking into actually, but
That apparently sucks.
apparently
But okay, you
sick.
ready?
Okay, so Azale, we got your Dropbox link.
Let us know if it works. But you ready?
Yes.
Orbit V9 out of 24. Apparently. Let us know what does that mean? Why? All right, 3, 2, 1.
Look, gang, a door. I wonder where it leads. We'll never know. Stuck in orbit, mayday. Miss my home, my baby.
I do think the vocals a little like
Survive without you. Caught up in rotation. Lost current location. I'll just float here missing you. Hi.
Oh, cool. Nice pick.
Yeah, that's cool. Like a little high vocal melody.
Whoa, that's cool. Interesting little spin on this one. I think snare hits a little bit quieter.
There's some interesting side chain.
It's fire though. I do be vibing.
Stuck in orbit, mayday.
Cool vibe.
Miss my home, my
Whoa.
baby. I can't survive without you. Caught up in rotation. Lost current location. I'll just float here missing
Nice. Energy build. Those little rover beats.
Some of them are pretty expensive. Into the next song,
Ooh, that's cool.
I'm guessing. Wait,
Sounds
wait.
like. What'd you
There's
say?
still 5 seconds. There's still 5 seconds. I just like skipped it. Okay. Anyways, yeah, that was Orbit V9. That was cool, man. I really like that a lot. Very interesting timbre all the way through, and a lot of interesting sounds.
Is that last part? Do you know yet, Zale, if that's gonna lead into another song or something?
That's got to be why.
Yeah.
It's part of a larger
Part
piece of work.
piece of work. Yeah. Cool.
Wait, let's see. So, still blah blah blah. Static E submitted. Not a band actually. Lloyd did everything on that. We'll talk about that later, okay,
We'll talk
Damien?
about that.
Made 24 different songs trying to make the lyric fit, and ran with the last one. And you're on V9. Holy shit! 24 different songs
Wow.
just for this lyrics. Yeah, it's interesting. So the lyrics are kind of driving your song making process. Everybody's different. It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like the opposite. Like music kind of comes to me first, I'd say,
I
and
think
like
yeah,
flow and then lyrics.
yeah.
But cool. So vibes. What do you got? First impressions, Josh.
Man, this is like such an interesting
Flower based.
vibe. Yeah, yeah, it is. Like it's
Yeah, it fits that album art really well too.
if it's yeah, I was gonna say fits the album art and probably that genre like name
Yeah,
well, I think. It's there's something very surreal or dreamy about it or something. It's cool.
yeah, yeah. Like it a
Man,
lot.
I
I think
mean,
Zale. I think they're very good at matching like imagery and their timbre in their songs, and just like the
yeah,
vibe of their profile too. It seems like it's
that's
pretty
yeah.
cohesive.
Are you a synesthetic? Synesthetic? I can't even say it correctly.
That first
Where
drop
it's
felt
like,
like gold. Yeah. Hey, this guy is feeling himself, bro.
yeah.
I think so too. I think it does. It
It's
was great.
cool. Yeah, I mean, over like it's really unique. I like the like
I liked it a
I think
lot.
the composition is awesome. Like some really great like timbral parts interweaved with melodies. Like all the it's the intersection of all those things coming together that is really like impressive and like fun to listen to. Right? It's on the precipice of like being a great song because of all of that.
Yeah.
That's the foundation that you need. So like you've got the important parts there.
Yep.
Um, we can go into detail on other things, but I think in terms of feedback, for me, the main thing that's holding it back is a specific aspect of the production.
I agree.
What can you get? What do you think it is?
For me, there's just like little things here in terms of balance
Mhm.
between like some components being just too loud compared to others.
Yeah,
Um, there's a lot of cool and interesting sounds that were popping in and out, but again, some of them sounded much louder than everything else. Some of them sounded much more resonant, like very high Q kind of sounds that were like just kind of piercing when they came in.
I think I know
That's
what's
like some of the
happening.
stuff. Yeah,
I don't think that it's those are the issues that need to be
you said it
addressed
was side chaining,
specifically.
right?
I think it's something to do with a compressor,
Compressor.
with the like gate or threshold of the compressor being activated very aggressive, like super aggressively.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're doing any sidechain compression or if you've just got some sort of master bus compressor or limiter that's being fed signals that are just too loud for it, and it's basically ducking everything else at really weird times.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're saying probably the case. Are you saying about the master bus processing? Because yeah,
That is
like
probably the case. We'll neither confirm.
that's what I was hearing is just like it's weird because at certain parts it was actually like too warm of an overall like spectral footprint, right? It was like we're under a blanket a little bit, and then it would get really shrill and piercing.
Hmm.
And we talked about this at the beginning, but when your vocal comes in, it's way too loud. It's
Hmm.
probably a good like at least 3 dB too loud.
Hmm.
And I don't know. That could be partly that it's not as loud originally, but then the compressor, yeah, the gain and the yeah, 100% the gain sidechain compressor cranked up.
Fire.
Yeah. So, and then I don't know what's driving that sidechain compressor, but there are parts when like maybe from the kick, just guess, is ducking everything else way down, and there's a little bit of a tail on that sidechain release, and so we've got like a super like quiet, warm spectrum around the kick. And then when it lifts off, suddenly it's too bright. It's like bright, dark, high volume, low volume. Specific parts that might get swept in or around that sidechain release curve are either too loud or too like muffled.
Hmm.
So just that sidechain compressor is doing a lot of work and not necessarily for complete benefit.
Yeah.
So I would probably there's good case for using like a sidechain compressor, especially locked to a kick, like over your whole track. Maybe in certain parts, I think a lot of artists will like just have specific impact moments where they want that sidechain to be really aggressive on everything. But if it's happening constantly and if the kick pattern's too busy, it gets really like fatiguing and tiring to listen to the whole time.
And if it's
Um,
cranked the fuck up, like apparently they're
well,
doing,
yeah, if it's cranked up too much, and I think especially if your release is too slow
I
and you're
like a
like
shallow.
dragging other stuff into this black hole of like sidechain compression.
We like
Um,
big, fat, thick low ends here at FastTrack.
We know that.
Yeah, they know. We want to make sure we're on the same page here. So.
Yeah, no, I think your bass sounds fine. It's the problem is that sidechain compressor is modulating the volume and the top end partly through compression, I think, on like everything else. And it's super, super apparent. And I think again, your vocal being compressed way, way, way too hard,
Yeah.
where also the gain of the compressor or whatever relative to other things is just making it like absolute top of the like loudness scale without actually clipping. Again, I don't know if you have a limiter actually on the bus that's keeping it from clipping, which I guess is good, but still so loud and brick walled on that vocal part when it comes in. The other parts are at a decent volume level, I think.
Yeah.
So, but it's like you've got all these little issues, like Chris was talking about, all these little things that we were like noticing, but then like I was just like, I think that's almost entirely happening because too much compression and the weird like pumpiness of like all of the volumes just being uncertain and changing and the spectrum changing and stuff.
Good
So
ear.
just be careful with that. I mean, if you can rein that back and make it functional but not like aggressive or deleterious,
Deleterious.
then yeah, deleterious.
Deleterious.
I,
That sounds like
bad.
a Key and Peele name, like
Really?
when they did the football players. You know what I mean? It's like
That's
Control
funny.
Alt Deleterious from
That's funny.
Rutgers. It's funny.
But yeah, I just that's the main thing that I would say would actually take this track up like an order of magnitude. It would be so much better. So
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the biggest like issue in terms of like I love the content. I love the vibes of it. I think production is just what you got to tweak.
Yeah.
So listen to this guy. He knows music tech, bachelor's, masters in business.
Oh, me.
Yeah, doxing him a little bit. I guess.
Yes, that's
The
true.
CPU is fucked on it, and
Coming
every
from
time I open it,
PhD, coming from an almost PhD.
yeah, but nothing to do with music. So
This guy's
yeah,
making fucking Neuralinks, guys.
yeah. If you want a brain
Hey,
chip, holla.
Elon, hire him.
Yeah, Elon, talk about it.
Yeah.
The CPU is fucked on it, and every time I open it, swear it takes a year
Oh
off my life.
god.
Why does it take a year off your life?
Wait, why is the CPU fucked on it? Is there just a lot going on?
I
A
guess
lot of
so,
tracks
yeah.
or processing?
We're gonna
So-
have to finish it sometime, right? It's not finished, but yeah. Let's see, what else can I add here? I guess this is all in vibes. We dove deep into production.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's whatever.
So yeah, it is whatever. It's not important, but the production tip also, I was thinking, and then I think compression again. That's like probably the biggest issue. So listen to Josh, but you said you like the shy bass. I do think you could, in terms of balance, I do think the bass can come up a little bit, and also if there's a balance between the snare and the kick, I think the kick or the snare is like destroying the kick right now in terms of loudness and impact of the transient. Like the kick sounds kind of smashed. I like how it sounds. I think it sounds really cool, but there's no like oomph. It's not like hitting me in the chest like I kind of want it to.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's kind of weird because you have it so smashed sounding and distorted. I love that sound, but it's not delivering like the oomph in like the kind of sub
look,
bass region.
that's the other thing. This again, here we are back with compressors and how to use them, but
Yep.
it's like it's great to have a very compressed kick a lot of times. Well, the main thing I'd recommend, if you can, in a lot of cases, good idea to at least try parallel compression with a kick.
Mhm.
Because the main thing you're fighting against, you want generally your low end instruments to be very consistent. Like first of all, just not be deviating largely in volume from like bar to bar, like note to note, because then it's obvious and things don't sound balanced. Or like there's a foundation. Like you don't want the foundation to your house to be like thinner in other places, like certain places.
Yep.
It needs to be set on something that's consistent because that sets the sort of relative playing field for everything else to do what it wants to and feel balanced. But with your kick specifically and bass instruments, you want to have that consistency in the sort of note and the tail and the release of the note so that it sounds the same level throughout and relative to other notes in the instrument. But you want the attack to still be able to breathe. Like the attack of that note should not just be a box, right? Because then that will have no impact. And that's what happens when you smash it with compression. So look at your attack settings. Try to make it so that the right amount of that specific instrument's transient makes it through before the signal is completely compressed. And like that's how you do it. I mean, the other way again is like a less aggressive compressor on top of a more aggressive compressor, or like no compression and aggressive compression, which is parallel compression.
Yeah.
So you get the attack and like the sort of timbral changes throughout the note cycle and stuff, but you
Yeah.
still have the consistency underneath it. So
Yep. Yep.
some ideas there.
What's up, dystopian minds? Hey, shout out. My brain's also
Yo,
dystopian.
welcome.
But we got we do feedback here. If you want music feedback, submit the songs there. We want to listen to it.
Oh, we do
but yeah.
feedback? I didn't
Yeah,
realize that.
sometimes. Yeah. It's one of the F's there.
Nobody could ever guess that based on the overlay or
Thugging
anything.
fast track. Yeah, we listen to tracks as fast as possible. All right,
Yes.
next.
Well, if you're gonna, we play them on 10 times speed, and then we
Yeah.
talk really fast.
Any genre, any genre. That's right.
Actually, we do the opposite of that. We have to like
We only
pause
do
because SoundCloud doesn't work right.
we only do booty music. That's it. No, just
Oh,
kidding.
any genre. We should make a little disclaimer here. Please, please, for the love of God, if you can submit your stuff to us with a link, not SoundCloud, that would be greatly
Oh,
appreciated.
yes,
So
that's true.
Dropbox, Whip It. We can put Whip It in the chat if you want to do it. That one's super fast to upload to, apparently. Or what was it? We have another option.
FastTrack.studio.
Well, soon, yeah. So we are building a platform to help. We're going to basically be running the feedback submission process through our own platform that we're building. So like you guys have seen the form, you won't have to refill out your information each time. So literally, it'll just be you upload your track and then like the title and like 2 things. So it'll be very streamlined, and you'll be able to go back and see your feedback, and like it'll be awesome. So
It'll be crazy.
that's what we're working on. That's in lieu of or in anticipation of building a marketplace for you to get feedback from industry professionals. So like not just us, being able to find people in your genre, your style, who are expertise in the areas you need help or you feel that you do, or that you want to work with. So like it's a collaboration platform. It'll help you manage your project, music project life cycle and release process and all of that. There's like a lot to come there. So if you want to get in on that early and be a beta tester, help us try it out and hopefully benefit from it, go to beta, sign up.
Go to beta.
All right. It's fasttrack.studio. The link is in the chat.
Be an alpha. Sign up for the beta today.
Yeah, that should be our slogan.
No, it shouldn't.
Be a gamma. Sign up for our beta.
Be a sigmoid male.
Yeah.
But anyways,
What are
we on? What are we on? I don't even get past vibes,
we
bro.
just do scores. I mean, we've given a lot of. We'll give more feedback as we go through, but vibes.
Yeah.
Let's give a score.
Vibes. I think this was very vibey. I liked it a lot. Flower Base, man. I feel like I want to look this up afterward because I like this. So I think it's pretty high. Just some production things, we talked about it. My score for vibes probably 89 between yellow to green. I really like this.
Yeah, I was gonna say 90.
There you go. Content, I would say 90, 94 between yellow to green.
Yeah, I think I do like the writing and the melodies here and the arrangement and all that stuff. Just the aesthetic I think is super cool. So I think I would say I'll say 99, 95.
There you go. He's one-upping me. Literally one. But production, we talked about it. Big old pumps from that sidechain compressor that is apparently destroying his CPU.
Please don't say big old pumps again.
Big old pumps, bro. Massive. Girthy.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. All right.
God.
Yeah. Dear God, indeed. Please save us. So production, I would say it's like there's a lot of cool things happening, but yeah, just mixing and stuff, and it needs work balance. Probably at this point 74 between yellow to green. What about you?
I think like I don't really know what it sounds like underneath the pumping sidechain compressor, but I think that's a pretty major thing right now as it stands. It may be a fairly easy fix, but as a listener, my ears were I could feel my eardrums like contracting when that super loud and sort of vocal would come in, basically. And then like the pumping and like the parts being present and too harsh and then going away and being muffled, like it was just a little bit jarring to listen to, even though we could tell that the content and the vibes underneath were like awesome. I think I'd probably have to say production for me is like 60% between yellow and green, between develop and good to go. So it's mostly there, but I think like that simple change could make like a gigantic difference for this just being more listenable.
It really could. Yeah. yeah, if things like go correctly in terms of production, I think this might be creeping for me on purple territory. I think
Yeah,
this is really
definitely.
good,
Or
but
pink.
or pink, yeah.
Just-
But there's purple flowers out there.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, yeah. Just for you, Zale. If you make it, we want everybody to have purple tracks, ideally. But they got to make us feel that type of way,
Yeah.
and got to be like pretty much on the professional level. So,
Mhm.
I think you're on your way there for sure. You got something special in the content area. So,
Yeah, definitely.
overall, that puts me at I think around my vibe score, which is like 88. Maybe with the production right at this point, I'll put it at 85 between yellow to green.
Yeah, I think I will say 80 overall between yellow and green.
There you go. Shout out Zale, appreciate you, and be like Zale. He tipped us for all our hard work. So if you want to tip to skip the queue, or to just be nice,
Zale, are you a he?
$5
We
up
don't.
there.
Do we know if you're a he? I just don't want to mislabel.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, sorry. I just dropped that shit. I'm not a boomer, but I'm like what 28. So
You're a millennial.
yeah, I'm like edge of the millennial. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So
Bro, I think you're definitely millennial because some people say that. Well, actually, yeah, no. Some people say that
95,
like
95.
Gen. What?
I'm
Oh,
1995.
they changed it. You're right. It used to be. They used to say it was 1980 to 2000 was millennial, and then they changed it. They're like, actually, technically, you're kind of Gen Z if you're born after 95 because you use technology and you're not a boomer. So
Yeah, I guess I guess I am like last year of millennial.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Damien, 99. I'm 98.
Damn it. 99, baby. 95. Babies, bunch of babies in chat, bro.
He
No,
said
I'm
I
just
was a
kidding.
millennial until I wasn't. Yep, same.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, losers. You wish. Anyways, we got DLP Damien in the chat. I think what was his name? Dystopian Minds. Did you get your submission in, bro? Because we didn't get it. Um, you asked for any genre. We do all genres. I didn't mean to scare you away with the booty music joke, but if I did, my bad.
Wait, this is random, but isn't like I mean the name millennials because it's people who grew up at the turn of the
The
like
millennium. Yeah.
millennium. So why the fuck like whatever? It's so stupid. Who decides that shit?
Yeah, why wouldn't the millennials be the ones after
Why
2000?
wouldn't the people born until 2000? Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah, makes sense. Dude, they didn't know that Y2K and everything. Like they thought it was gonna end.
I mean,
We
if
were gonna be
anything,
the last generation.
I feel like we're more millennial than people born in 1980.
Yeah,
We're way closer to the millennium change than 1980.
yeah.
That's
But the millennium change
20%.
was part of their pivotal, time of their life, the
Well,
20s.
yeah, you're 20. I get. Well, anybody else? I mean, 90. You're 10. 10 versus 5. Like, who cares? I don't know.
Yeah,
Stupid.
yeah, yeah. But what's more? I guess what's more
Trivial.
pivotal? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
Yay!
trivial.
I'm about to send. I got the sklink. Is that okay? No, it's not okay.
Is it SoundCloud? Like,
Yeah,
you mean
SoundCloud
SoundCloud
link.
link?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what we're saying is that SoundCloud has been bad lately.
Yeah, it just fucks up on our stream. Like, if you send it to us, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna send it to us. We're gonna play it, and then you're
It's
gonna
gonna
be like,
sound like
"Why is
shit.
the audio all shitty?"
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if you could give us like a Dropbox link, seems to be working. Google Drive gives us an error that they can't play really big files for some reason. That only happens sometimes. And there's also this website called Whip It, which apparently some of our users have been able to just upload a track real quick and give us a link that way. So either way that you can do works. Just SoundCloud for some reason today and last week have just been giving us problems.
Yeah, it's weird.
So, anyways, we can go to DLP Damien. Swimming in a thunderstorm. That's what it's called. Cool. Work in progress. Played live guitar and bass, programmed drums, sang mixed and mastered Mathis track.
Nice. Okay.
What is Mathis? Wait,
What did it say?
what? It says played live guitar and bass, programmed drums, sang mixed, mastered Mathis track.
Maybe it's just mixed and mastered this track, and the MA was
Maybe,
from
yeah.
editing or something.
Bro, you got to use commas and shit like
Typo.
punctuation.
It's just typo.
Yeah, it's typo. No, but like, anyways.
No, it's just supposed to be played live guitar and bass, programmed drums, same drums.
That's what I mean.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, like commas, right?
Grammar.
It's crazy. I get it. I guess
It's all good.
this is what you deal with.
Unlucky, I got only that link at the moment. Well, don't you have the file? Because it's your track, right?
Yeah, maybe they're out and about.
Oh, if so,
I don't know. Like, yeah, like if you can get us any way, like, like I'm telling you, once you give us the track and we're gonna listen to it,
Yeah.
you're gonna be like, what the hell? And we're gonna tell you that's what happens. You
On
can
the
send
other
it to us.
hand, if you
Yeah.
send us your track, a box, Dropbox, fucking YouTube, Whip It, any of those mediums, you will get the best fucking feedback of your life.
Yep.
If you haven't gotten feedback on our stream, you're gonna be like, why don't the other streams do it like this? Well, it's because they don't care like we do.
Yeah. Damien, Elka's grammar and spells grammar wrong. This fucker.
That's funny.
Yeah. I got
They got-
only wave. That's fine.
You can
What do you
upload a WAV file to.
Yeah, you can upload a wave. That's not. Right. You can upload a wave to anything.
Mhm.
Whip it, or box.com, or Dropbox.
YouTube.
Yeah. Drive might work, but not really. So I would definitely get those other ones. High IQ comedy right there. That's all I'm saying.
That's good.
I'm a fan.
That's
But
good.
all right, let's get to some music, shall we? You ready?
Let's do it. We got Dropbox.
Swimming
Here.
in a thunderstorm. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
3, 2, 1.
Why does this intro sound so familiar?
Look me in the eyes as I'm suffocating. Tell me it's okay when I know that it's not. They say that karma comes around, but I'm sick of waiting for the day when I drop. I'm in a box that's scared.
A lot of low mid build up here.
Oh, yeah.
The breeze won't even bother. It's a beautiful hell. I'm drowning in the rain, going swimming in a thunderstorm.
This is what I like.
I hear the lightning getting closer. I hear the lightning getting closer. I'm drowning in the rain.
These are good double
I'm going
vocals.
swimming in a thunderstorm. I hear the lightning getting closer. I hear the lightning getting closer. I'm in a box that's getting smaller. I'm standing at the altar. You got blood splattered on your veil.
That phaser guitar is
The
really
music
distracting.
getting darker. The breeze won't
Yeah, that
even
is.
bother. It's a beautiful,
This guy needs to find a drummer.
Yeah.
Like, as a song, I really think it's pretty good. But yeah, we need a drummer. Primo,
I'm drowning in the rain, going swimming in a thunderstorm. I hear the lightning getting closer. I hear the lightning getting closer. I'm drowning in the rain, I'm going swimming in a thunderstorm. I hear the lightning getting closer. I hear the lightning getting closer.
Okay.
just
That was cool. I thought that
Needed
outro
ending
was a
there.
little awkward.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
Josh is big on the outros here.
Well, because it's sort of like you make your first impression, right? But then, really, I think with music, often it's like you make your last impression. Like if people actually get through to the end and you have an awkward, weird outro that doesn't sound consistent with the rest of the track or just doesn't sound good or professional or not awkward, then that's the last taste we have on our tongue. It's like, that was kind of weird. So it's sort of like when you say like goodbye to someone and you're super awkward about it, they're gonna be like, oh, that was kind of weird, and it might shape their impression from that interaction. So I don't know. It's something we see a lot. Again, most people don't focus on that detail until the end of their process, or they just never come back to it and sort of consider if it makes sense. But yeah, I think this is really cool overall. I was impressed, like, as it went on,
Yeah.
particularly with I think the writing, like, especially the top line writing, like,
Mhm.
super hooky melodies,
Oh yeah.
really good, like, I think good vocal performance, and especially your doubling
Yeah.
and harmonies and, like, the panning and stuff, very much like pop rock vocal production sounding. So that was impressive.
No, bro, just uploaded on SoundCloud 3 hours ago. Now I was looking for Dropbox if didn't take me an H. What?
An
And
hour, you mean?
yeah, just any other platform worked. Like, just yeah, like
Yeah, it's again like there's just some weird thing with SoundCloud, and also
yeah,
SoundCloud kind of is dog shit anyways, but
yeah.
we're building our own platform to allow you to just
To
upload
solve
your
this
tracks a
problem,
lot
yeah,
easier and make the whole like submission process better. So
yeah.
yeah, that will be
Until
soon, but
then,
for
yeah,
now, this SoundCloud thing just came out of nowhere, so
yeah. It used to work. It's weird,
it's
but
weird.
anyways, what is it? Yeah. So the pop rocky, yeah, yeah. I think yeah, this guy fantastic vocal delivery, very pop rocky. The hooks was amazing. Living in a thunderstorm, very cool.
Mhm.
I wonder, and you talked about I think like some phasing guitar or something, or phaser guitar. Is
Yeah,
that what
there
you
was
said?
something like around the halfway mark that came in, I think maybe after a chorus or something, or after a hook, that sounded phaser-ish. I'm not It could have just been some sort of weird, like, frequency masking type thing that
Mhm.
was happening, but I noticed even before that, there's this is basically my main piece of advice, which is
Yeah,
super common with rock and anything that has recorded guitars and instruments. Cut, 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 cut,
low mid.
cut,
Yeah,
cut, cut. Yeah,
cut, cut, cut. That's it.
not like cut, but like you need to eliminate parts that are stepping on each other's feet.
Hmm.
So if you've got a ton of guitar parts, and if any of them are out of time a little bit, or they're just not like rhythmically harmonious, just kind of a double entendre there. But like if you just have parts that are clashing, eliminate one of them
Hmm.
and make it so they're not clashing as much. And I'd recommend, if you want to have a wall of guitars, just do more doubling or quad tracking if you want, but
Hmm.
don't play a bunch of different parts that are playing different stuff, especially with distortion,
Hmm.
because you just end up with just a wall of sort of noise from that. Now, the other thing to cut and look
I
out
wonder if
for
I was
is,
thinking about that. Yeah.
huh?
I said I wonder if that's what I was hearing. Because
Yeah,
at first I was like, maybe the vocal is too loud in terms of balance.
I was
Because
struggling to
I
figure that
wasn't,
out too.
yeah, because I wasn't able to really like hear the guitars as well. But it might be what you're saying. Like, there's just so much other like different parts happening, and they're all distorted, and yeah, it just kind of meshes together.
Yeah, maybe a more subtle thing. I think during the chorus it's okay because everything's louder, but in the other parts, there were points when the vocal was a little bit shrill or a little bit loud.
Mhm.
And I think if you just rolled off like the slightest bit of top end, or like you find the most shrill frequency range with just, do an EQ sweep, set a super high Q value and turn that up, and then find the frequency that hurts the most and then turn that down a little bit, just a little,
Mhm.
and that might help.
And
Also, you
keep
said
doing that. Yeah, you could do that multiple times. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely. You're saying, I know exactly what you're talking about. I have double tracked lead and rhythm guitar, but there's also a top line that might be a little much. Yeah, I think like once you get to 3 guitar parts, uh, first of all, you're
It's like our
automatically
band.
gonna have issues if they're all using too similar of a tone.
Hmm.
I would super, super suggest, I don't know if you're doing this right now, but change something, or probably ideally multiple things about that signal chain for those guitars. If you're going to layer 2 or more guitars, I'm not talking about doubles, those can be the same sound. If you want to, you can do the same part and change out a guitar, or again, this is just for having different parts. Swap out the guitar, change the pickup setting for different instrument parts, different guitar parts,
Hmm.
change your amp settings, change the amp. Like you need to change some variables to
Yeah.
make those parts not clash, and also play on different parts of the neck. Like, just one, even if you're playing similar notes and you're playing on different parts of the neck, you're going to get slightly different upper harmonics and stuff, which is timbre, and that will differentiate things and also make your guitars sound bigger. So it's both, like, when you do that, you make the guitars sound bigger because they're filling more frequency range.
Yep.
You also make them step on each other less, and now we can hear what they're all doing, and it's this nice interplay. You said, yeah, leads have different tones. then rhythm, and both have different tones. In the top line, maybe the rhythms are clashing with each other. It could be that. It could also just be that the distortions might be a little too dirty. A
Mhm.
lot of people think that you need to have a really distorted distortion sound like on your rock guitars, when a lot of the time, like a lot of the heaviest bands that those raw guitar parts or their amp settings have like surprisingly little distortion on them. And
Mhm.
it's more like the impact of the attack of them playing and just a slight amount of distortion plus the bass. The bass is really what adds that illusion of like super heaviness. You don't actually need that much distortion on the actual signal. And if
Mhm.
you do, it makes everything less impactful. So that's kind of the counterintuitive bit is if you put too much distortion on guitars, usually in a mix, in that context, you'll actually lose heaviness. You'll lose impact. It just becomes fuzzy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't
there's
think I even remember hearing a bass. I know that you said you played live bass on this, but I didn't hear any sort of impact from the bass at all.
well, that's another thing. I mean, you have to reconcile the guitar parts
Right.
primarily
So the low
with
mid, right?
the well, first of all, the low mid. You need to cut low mid out from it at least a few of those guitar parts too, because this is super 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 common with
Yeah.
live guitars. They're always going to have low mid buildup, almost always.
Hmm.
And if you don't do any cutting, you absolutely do not need most of that in a mix. Again, this is contextual, not thinking about what sounds best in the room. This is what sounds best in a mix. Get rid of as much of that excess low mid content as you can. It doesn't have to be necessarily from all of the guitar parts, but again, this is further differentiating them so that you can hear them individually and they contribute to each other and don't fight with each other.
Hmm.
But it's also going to fight with your bass. We're not going to be able to hear it. It's going to fight with your kick. We're not going to be able to hear it. And you're not. Then you also have to reconcile the attack of the bass and the sort of beater frequency or whatever you want to call it. The pluck part with the frequencies in your guitars, and you have to find probably a bass EQ is the easiest way to do it. That puts that punchiness in a place that is complementary to your kick drum, and so that they sound stronger together. They actually, when they hit together, they sound louder, not quieter. Because if they have the same beater frequency, it cancels out.
Hmm.
And also, it needs to not be masked by all your guitar stuff. So, like guitars, bass, and your kick, those things, if they're not like reconciled frequency wise, you're gonna have an uphill battle. Luckily, your snare is coming through enough. That's also pretty common, is that your snare doesn't make it through the wall of mid content and high mid content from your distorted guitars. But I do like your snare. It's pretty well like compressed, punchy, cuts through the mix, so that's good.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's you have a harder job than most genres with EQing,
Yeah.
making things not clash, avoiding low mid buildup, avoiding sort of ugly mid rangey frequencies. So you just have to be super diligent about simplifying. Less parts makes your job easier. Cutting EQ bands out that aren't needed, again, another form of simplifying, and being super deliberate about your tones for each of those elements, where their beater frequencies and their low mids and all that stuff live, and choosing what instrument gets what frequencies, and like actually knowing where those frequencies are, looking at an EQ graph if you can for each and seeing where they occupy and where they clash. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's a deep like topic. It takes a lot, but that's as much feedback as I can hopefully give on that.
Yeah. And this guy knows he does this shit.
Yeah, because I think it's important. Like yeah, I mean, everyone who's mixed guitars knows that this stuff is a struggle.
Yeah. That's what it. Yeah, because it kind of sounded like that to me. Like the vocal came in and like just as like zooming out real quick. This is like what I heard. Like the vocal I feel like was like much more clear and present than anything else. Um, I was understanding that there was guitar there, and there might have been like a couple different parts that I was hearing. I definitely heard like a chugging, like da 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 da, and then like some other stuff was happening, but it was kind of just like a wall of guitar sound that I heard, and then like there was like no bass that I could hear, and I heard like electronic drums that were programmed, which not the worst electronic trumps I've heard in terms of programming, but I just feel like what you're trying to go for, I think you need a drummer. I feel like that goes without saying. Like everything else is live. That you're going for this like pop rock kind of feel. I really want to hear this with a drummer. I think,
Yeah,
yeah, you should go out there and find a session drummer, perhaps. Um, yeah, because it could take it to the next level. I think because yeah, like we said, the writing was really good. The hook was fantastic. I think the top lining was pretty well done here. I don't think I was ever bored too throughout the whole song. So structure wise, it was pretty good, an enjoyable listen.
Mhm.
But yeah, a lot of stuff to work on in production. So overall vibes, this puts me at living in a thunderstorm, probably 55 between yellow to green. What about you?
Yeah, I think I'll say like 64 between yellow and green.
True,
Like
true, true.
the overall vibe, I do like.
Yep, yep, yep. Content. What do you have?
Yeah, for content, I think actually, maybe vibes. I'll give it a 69.
Oh wow! All
Just a
right,
thought,
coming up.
but
Favorite
uh,
number.
yeah, for content, like we talked about a lot of it. It is with like your instrument like choices, like arrangement wise, and all of that, and the sort of the sounds you're using out the gate. I think also the on the drums thread, there were a couple points. There's one towards the beginning and one later on where it felt like the drum missed a beat. Like there was
I
something weird with like maybe snare placement. Like it could have just been that if you did this with MIDI or something, I don't know if you did, that you just placed a snare in the wrong spot and then it got copied or looped to a later part. It's in the first quarter of the song. I don't remember exactly where, but there's definitely a weird little skip. It sounds like a beat was skipped. There's something weird going on there. Let me see if I think it's towards the beginning actually. Let me see if I can get it here.
yeah, I tried to listen in the beginning. I think the vocalist
There it
comes in too
is.
early.
Yeah, right around where the vocalist comes in, there's a little bit like boom dun dun or something like instead of boom dun dun or something. There's something missing in there a little bit where the snare sounds a little early.
I think the vocalist comes in too early.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, let me. It could be. I think it's yeah. It's just weird placement with everything. It might partly be that vocal, which is very loud, but
Yeah.
that snare hit seems a little unnecessary to me. Like it's sort of it makes the drum sound more fake
Yeah.
because it just doesn't sound like a drummer would actually have the rebound to make it sound that way. Like there's something unnatural about that.
That's the thing, yeah, with the programmed drums, and I mean, there's like levels to this shit in terms of programmed drums, but with the way that I'm hearing it now, it sounds like almost every hit is the same sample and maybe
Yeah,
even at the same velocity.
that's common. Even if you're using like a decent software like like drumming plugin, if
Yeah,
you are even if you play on eDrums, I've had this problem too, and you play basically at 127, like velocity for
yeah,
most of the snares, there's just not enough room for most drum plugins to make those notes sound different. And
hmm,
so then you end up with it sounding exactly the same on every hit, and that's a little bit off-putting.
yep, yeah, and I think I heard that a lot with every single drum hit.
Which is unfortunate because I think what happens with rock and this kind of stuff a lot is you want to get that super punchy like loud drum sound out of it,
Yeah,
but if you might end up using like a drum like a snare sample or a snare sound that sounds really good when you hit it really hard, and so you use that sample, but it's not really meant to be played at that velocity, and so you're like if you found a sample that sounded good and hard at a lower velocity curve, you'd have some headroom to like be able to hit slightly harder or slightly less hard and still have it sound punchy and good. So like I've fallen into this trap where the drum doesn't sound great at lower velocity, but it sounds like what I want it to at 127 and basically only 127. And then it becomes almost impossible to get any sort of variation out of that drum sound. So
right. Yeah,
it's
it's
difficult.
been for a genre like rock, like you really need that kind of variation to give a facade of a real drum set, I guess.
Yeah, it's
With
tough.
hip hop, it you could, have the same fucking sample, the same velocity, but yeah,
It's weird. It might also be in part that when you play a real like drum, um, I would think that as you get louder, like more power, there's just a lot more variation to be had in like the way that you hit the drum, like where you hit the drum at the even at the same power level or with slight differences at upper end, where there's going to be audible differences that are basically truncated by the fact that velocity curves only go up to 127.
yeah,
So like there's no other place for that drum to like there's no other information for it to have once it gets to 127. It can't
Yeah.
know where you're hitting the drum. It can't know if there's something like if you hit it harder than quote unquote 127, it's going to sound very different.
Yeah.
So
I wonder what the is that like a bit number? Is that why it's up to only 127?
well,
Or is
yeah,
that
it's because it goes 0 to 127, so it's 128 values, which
it's
is
2 to the 7? Yeah.
that
2 to
7?
the 7. Yeah.
Is that called 8-bit or is that 7-bit?
I don't know. It's
Or
just
no, that's not.
I think it's 7-bit, which is interesting.
Yeah, probably.
I was just wondering, like, would
Well,
they ever want to raise the MIDI standard to like,
they
you know,
that's what they're doing.
they
So
are?
MIDI 2.0, I think it's what it's called. It's been like rolling out for like 7 years now, 5 years or something like that.
Fuck, bro.
It will have, instead of 127 velocity note values and just note values, expression values, like every MIDI scale is basically 127.
Yeah.
It'll have like 21,000 or something like that. So
Whoa.
it's like going from like literally a cathode ray display to like
Yeah.
an 8K TV. Like it's a big difference.
Music's about to get crazy.
Hopefully, but there's a lot of like it's integration hell, I'm sure, for those people.
You said 20,000?
I thought it was like 21,000 something, which is probably like 16-bit, but I can't
Yeah, 2
remember.
to the 14 is 16,000. 2 to the 15 is like 32,000.
Maybe it's 32. Let me see.
That's crazy.
Values. 16,000. So it's a 16-bit value, but it's 16,000 velocities.
Okay, so maybe they like use the other bits for other information, perhaps.
Oh yeah, I think that's what it is. There's different channels and stuff.
Yeah, got it. That makes sense. Crazy. Yeah, that's a huge difference. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, 127 velocity levels versus 30,000.
Yeah, 120. I mean, I even found when you're drawing in velocity curves and like
Yeah.
specifically with those kind of instruments where you want to be at the upper end of the spectrum,
Yeah.
like all you have is like 124 through 127 to work with.
Yep.
And like usually only like 127 is like there'll be too big of a difference in the timbre from 126 to 127.
Yeah.
And it's not really workable. So hopefully this will help.
Now people are going to get
2.0 allows instruments to communicate with each other and share information about who they are, basically. So, like, a synth will be able to tell a drum machine, "Hey, I'm a synth. You should work with me like this. I have these parameters. If you want to send, like, I'm a drawbar organ. If you want to send me drawbar values, this is the scale that drawbar values work on, and like the curve that they exist on. And like, yeah, it's crazy.
That's awesome. I can't wait.
It's pretty cool.
Music technology, bro.
Hopefully, yeah.
Cool shit.
Long time.
Cool. What are we on?
I
That's
think we're on
aside. Content?
Yeah.
You're on content, yeah.
Should we? I mean, I think other than that, I like the arrangement, like we said, and
Yeah.
it's a good track and like great. I love your vocal production, the layering, the harmonies.
Yeah,
it's
the
all
harmony
great.
sounded great. Yeah. And like main vocals sounded pretty good too.
Mhm.
I just think the production surrounding the band could improve.
Mhm.
But yeah, I also have to say, if I could isolate it to content, I think I really like the content. There's the drumming aspect though, so I guess I would say like 70
Mhm.
at this point now between yellow and green. I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty promising. I just want a real drummer, and then that'll bring it up a lot actually. Like
Mhm.
it's surprising how much that's going down. And then I just want to hear the rest of the band besides the wall of guitars. So
Yeah.
yeah. What about you? Score?
Oh wait, what was your score?
70.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
69. Production?
Yeah, 70 for this one. And then yeah, production, I think is the main issue,
Yeah.
probably just with crowding and
Mhm.
a little bit of shrillness. I do think you could, for the vocal, either smooth it out a little bit, maybe a little bit more compression, even to just sort of, I don't know, or just making it a little bit smoother on the top end. But
Mhm.
yeah, and then there's the other stuff that we talked about. But I don't know. Do
Yeah.
you have anything else?
No, I think it is the biggest thing that's holding the track back at this point. So I guess I also put in the E drums and the fact that the velocities are pretty much the same.
Yeah, yeah.
So production, I'll put like, I think like maybe 30 between yellow and green. What about you?
I think production for me would be like a 40 between yellow and green.
True.
Yeah, it's there's elements of this that are fine. I think your like again your overall shape outline, sort of like spectral outline is okay.
Mhm.
And volume, like nothing super out of whack. There's just a good amount of clashing. not
Yeah.
as much clarity as there could be, just sort of evening things out and making them like radio ready production, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. In terms of artistry, I really like the vocals and the hook and some of the guitars and some of the sections sound super like dope, and like there's some breakdown parts where I want to bang my head. So I think it's like onto something. Just yeah, production just needs a lot of work, and rock is one of the hardest things to produce. I feel like so.
Yeah, definitely.
Best of luck. You'll get it, and yeah, send us more versions. We'd love to hear how this grows.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but yeah, so overall, I'm at the potential well's grabbing me, Josh.
Uh-oh.
It's sucking me in, bro. Sucking me in into a 69 at a yellow and green, baby.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely sucked into a 69 too.
There you go, bro. It just happened. Um, God, I had a terrible saying. I was just gonna say. Good thing I didn't.
Uh-oh,
But
okay, that's good.
cool. It's 7:23. I don't think we have anybody else in the queue. Like last minute, anybody feedback? But
It looks like Dystopian Minds. I don't know if
gave
you're
up.
still here, but you gave up on uploading, which is unfortunate, but
Yeah.
yeah.
If you're still here, you could send us a SoundCloud track. We'll show you what we're talking about, and then we'll end the stream because, like we told
Or
you,
maybe it will miraculously work.
yeah,
I don't know.
there had to be any other website, but maybe they're out and about and they're like, ah, shit, I only have SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Feel for you. If you submit, we can get to you first next week. But
Yes. So yeah, maybe just to give a little context and announcements and whatnot. We are here for the most part every week from 5:30 to 7:30 Central. Next week, I think we have to figure out if we're going to be able to stream next week. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Potentially, maybe we'll be able to do a different day, like Thursday or something. We'll see.
Yeah, we have to talk about that.
Yeah. But usually we're here. Like, if you want to find out when we stream, follow us on Twitch somewhere here, and you'll get notified. Also, join our Discord. So that's in the chat there. People have been joining recently. Some discussions happening. Follow us on Instagram. It's kind of our home base. And again, I think we've mentioned it a few times, but we're building a super exciting music collaboration platform, and primarily starting with a feedback platform. So the ability to know like how good your track is and how you can make it better so that you actually have a shot as a needle in a haystack of all of the music out there. As you may have observed, really very few people are successful in music, and there's so much competition because everyone has a laptop and that's all you need now. But if you make incredible music, you have to get that right first, and then there's other steps, and we can eventually help you with those too. But making the best music is the best way to have a shot at getting some fans. So that's what we try to help you do, and we hope that all of our professionals from the music industry that we're going to onboard will be able to help you even further. So that's that. You can sign up for the beta at FastTrack.studio. Help us be a beta tester, free to sign up, and yeah, we would love to have you there. So, and we'll start doing stream submissions there soon, which will make everyone's lives easier.
Excited.
So yeah, we're excited for that.
Cool. Yeah.
Sweet.
I think there's any other submissions. What should we do?
I don't think so. I think we can probably end it early. Is anybody in the chat? Anybody want to submit anything? Anybody in the process of submitting anything? If there's crickets, we will end it.
Beep, beep, beep. I have one viewer in the chat, and that's probably me.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, Damien, you saw all your feedback.
Yeah, hopefully. Maybe we just got banned.
Oh, could be shadow banned.
What? Yeah, it happens.
For talking bad about our overlords, our Twitch overlords.
They suck.
Yes. Thank you, Jeff Bezos.
Yep.
All right.
Oh yeah, Amazon. Okay. Get us out of here, Josh.
Let's lead it out. We gave you the spiel. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Join us in all the places in the chat and send us your music. We will be back shortly, hopefully next week. And we're looking forward to hearing more stuff, more music from you.
Peace.
Thanks. Have a great weekend.
Later.
Peace out.
Have a great weekend, guys.